Coming. This is being recorded. Norwood Television is back at the studio streaming us live. Very excited we have folks out tonight. My name is Susan Hoover. I'm Norwood City Council at large. Alexis Royce is also City Council at large. She's here. And we're going to start with a presentation by Chief Sumner, who's going to share some statistics about what's happening in the community. And then we're also going to have a bit of a discussion about what's happening in your community, what are your issues, what are your concerns. That will be a lot of listening for us. We might have answers. We might not. We can always come back with you if we get answers. So I would love you to allow them to do their presentation, and then we'll have lots of interaction later on. So I'd like to introduce Norwood's amazing Chief Wayne Sumner.
Right. Well, like I said, I'm the chief. We're going to do an introduction. This is Sergeant Hoffman. He's kind of in charge of our community liaison program. So he's been working with the schools on the DOP class. We've been doing outreach that way. Going to kind of just give you some snippets on what's going on in the department, give you an update on our personnel, some highlight data from 2023, and then what's kind of leading into 2024, and go over some tips. This is a good resource here where you can get some good information. We have gun locks. We've been doing a kind of a gun safety program on our Facebook. We'll just highlight some stuff. We'll talk about some events coming up, and then the whole reason why we're here is if there's any issues going on in your community up around here, you let us know, because we're going into summertime. It's going to be busy, and if there's anything that's concerning, then we can work together to try to combat that stuff. So, update on our personnel. We did a hiring blitz in the end of 2023. We ended up hiring 6 officers. So we are one short of complement, so we're running about 46 police officers right now, sworn officers. Unfortunately, we're going to have a retirement. Sergeant's going to be retiring at the end of this month, and then another officer is resigning and moving to the sunny state of Florida after 11 years with us. So we're going to be giving a test here soon, and we're going to be down probably 3 police officers going into the summertime. So some data from 2023. I know there's been a lot of talk about gun violence and how safe or unsafe the city is. And I'm just going to tell you right now, we don't have a gun violence problem in Norwood. The data doesn't back it up. I know it's hard to see on the news every single day of shootings here and shootings there and shootings there, and you get swarmed with that information 24 hours a day, every second that you pick up your phone or watch TV. But you live in a very safe community. We hardly have any violent crime to talk about, and we can go over some data points, and I'll try to follow along here. This isn't everything, but it's things that probably would concern you. So this one here is a comparison from 2022 to 2023. So in 2022, we had 2 homicides. In 2023, that went down by 1. Our rapes went down last year compared to the year before. Our robberies went up 3. We had 16 robberies last year. Our aggravated assaults went up, but our assaults went down by 32. Our domestic violences went down by 18. Our burglaries went down by 10. Our thefts skyrocketed because of the auto theft phenomenon that was going on. And you'll see when we go through these stats that the majority of our time is spent dealing with retail theft and auto thefts and property crimes and quality of life issues. And then, so yeah, we had a total decrease last year of 212 total of those runs. Our shoplifting went up. We have a total of 351 shoplifting cases, and that's Rookwood and Kroger. And then the auto thefts, we had 103 auto thefts last year. You want to go to the next one? This is where we are today versus where we were last year today. So rapes, we don't have any right now. We've had 4 robberies, we're down 1. Our assaults kind of went up 3. But you can see thefts have skyrocketed in 2023. At this point in time, we were at 79, and now we're at 152. So we're up already this year to last year, 139. If you want to click on the next one. This is kind of important because a lot of people don't know how crimes are classified. So most people that when things affect you, they tend to think that it's the worst thing in the world. But they're classified by Part 1 crimes, which is considered serious crimes, versus Part 2 crimes, which is considered non-serious crimes. And as you can see, the Part 1 crimes are the homicides, the rapes, the robberies, aggravated assaults, burglaries, non-motor vehicle theft, motor vehicle theft, and then arson, and then all the other, what we like to call quality of life issues, is the non-serious offenses, which is your regular assaults, your property crimes, frauds, even your weapon charges, your weapons, possession of weapons, prostitution, those OVIs, those are considered non-serious offenses. Go to your next one. I didn't list all of these because there'd be too many. What I did is I did the top 6 of things. So these are the offenses that we took physical reports for in 2023. And as you can see, we led in thefts. A general condition report, it's a report that isn't classified. So when an officer goes on scene and someone's complaining of something that's happening, they don't necessarily know that it's classified. It may be somewhere where a detective has to see it and look at it, investigate it more. Aided cases, that's when someone's having some mental distress. They need to be evaluated by a psychiatrist, and their caseworker gets called, or they get transported downtown. And then it goes to the criminal damaging, open container, liquor violations, and under the influence of alcohol, which is typically OVIs. These are the top 6 addresses where we have problems. Montgomery Road, Madison Road, Edmondson Road, Mills Avenue, Edwards, and Sherman. And those are all contributed to retail thefts and, well, pretty much all retail thefts along the main corridor. Everything on Madison Road, Edmondson Road, Edwards, that's all up in the Rookwood area. Mills is basically the only residential street on here that we have issues with, that we make a lot of reports from the top 6. Go to the next one.
Are those Part 1 or Part 2 offenses? Part 2?
These are total.
Oh, total.
Yeah, right here. This just gives an overview of our hours, when our busiest times are, and obviously you can see where they peak from probably around 11 o'clock over to 8, and then they start to go down overnight. They start picking up at 5 in the morning, but that's the busiest time, at 11 through 7 p.m. Go to the next one. These are theft offenses, so we've had the number in parentheses there is 742. We've had a total of those offenses in 2023. Thefts leading it. We had 64 burglaries. That should actually be a Part 1 and be in the next slide down. And then 54 theft from autos. These are the violent offenses that it's recorded. 16 robberies, 13 assaults, 5 rapes, 1 homicide, and I added a little note at the bottom of that the burglary category should be down there at 64. These are our citation arrests. We've arrested for these 1,814 people. The majority of these warrant citation arrests, that can be pretty much anything. That can be a recite. Anybody can walk in the police department and say, I have a traffic warrant on me. Can I have a recite? You recite them, they walk out the door. That counts as a warrant citation arrest. The bottom one is the offense arrest. Those are the ones that we've actually arrested based on an offense that has been committed in Norwood. These again are arrests by specific reasons. So the failure to appear are mostly the warrants from other jurisdictions, other communities where someone may have a traffic ticket that they didn't go to court on, so they stop in the Norwood police and say, hey, I have a capias on me, can you recite me? And we recite them. Then the next one's theft. That's what we spend our most time dealing with. Then we have open container laws, obstructing, disorderly conduct, and more alcohol-related driving offenses. Then we go into traffic accidents. This is a newer management system, so anytime someone enters something just remotely different, it throws it to its own category. So you're going to see the same areas on here. But if you look at the numbers, our main problem area is along Montgomery Road with our traffic accidents. And just let me back up, or not you, but we had a total of 650 traffic accidents in 2023. And that is way beyond the scope of what we should have. So that's a problem. Yeah. That just shows you when our busy time is, which is Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then actually the weekends kind of start slowing down a little bit when it comes to crashes. For our traffic accident by severity, the majority of them was always property damage. We've had some minor injuries. This says 1 fatal, but it's technically 3 fatals that we've had this year. And the 3 fatalities that we've had is much more than we normally have had. It's above what we normally see per year. The traffic citations and warnings, our guys are pretty busy out there, so they've made about 3,200 traffic stops last year. You can see they've issued more warnings than they had citations, which is good. That's the way it should be. It should be probably more warnings than what this reads here. But that moving into 2024 is something that we're going to work on, but they've been busy trying to reduce those crashes in those areas. So we've had a total of 25,000, almost 26,000 calls for service last year, and that's probably the 3rd highest in Hamilton County. Obviously, you have Cincinnati, you have Hamilton County, and then you have us within these 3 square miles. So we stay busy. We make a lot of runs. You can see that's kind of peaks out on Fridays, Friday, Wednesday, Friday. It's all kind of high up there. But so go to the next one. These are how our runs come in. We get 16,500 of them has been dispatch runs, and then 9,000 have been officer field initiative runs. These are the type of calls for service that it's the top, I don't know, 10, 5 maybe, but a code 6 is basically an officer-initiated activity, whether it's a business check, a vacation check, some type of thing that he's doing by himself. Normally it's a check, and then you have the traffic stop. Those are automatically populated. Others, that could be anything from a supervisor telling him to go do something, and then he goes, and once he gets there, he calls off on the radio that he's there. Disorderly runs, those are a lot that we spend time on. Alarm runs, phone calls, those are calls coming in requesting us to go do something. Suspicious person calls, vehicle-related calls, and then the bottom 2 are health and injury. Anytime there's a medic run, the police get dispatched to that, and that goes on our side of our dispatch as well from our staff. We don't necessarily have to go to everyone, but we get notified. They check it off on our side of the CAD too, just in case it's something that we do need to respond to. We already know where they're at. Daily activities are things that we go on or do that don't require the officer to make a physical report. So trouble runs, again, are up there leading at about 1,800. Business checks, they do those on their own. The direct patrols, park checks. We spend a lot of time with parking violations. We spend a lot of time with parking complaints and vacation checks. And then it drops down to suspicious person runs. Those are runs being called in. Public service calls, that can be welfare checks. Can you go check on this? Or we found a dog running in the road, or wires down, some type of disabled vehicle, and then intrusion alarms. So I know this was an issue last time, and I'll try to simplify this. So I passed out these piece of paper. The simple way, and it's on here too, I believe. Well, our website and stuff. So if you have an emergency, call 911. If you have a non-emergency call, just think of it as this. Call your Norwood numbers first. If you don't get anybody, call Hamilton County first, second, for the non-emergency ones. And the reason saying is we don't man our desk 24 hours a day. We encourage our supervisors to be on the street supervising the activity that's out there. So it's kind of a hit or miss. If there's 2 supervisors working on a day, normally they will split the time in the desk, so you'll have a supervisor next to that phone and then a supervisor on the street. Then you have a police clerk, the 458, 4528. That's only a Monday through Friday, and we really don't know when she works. Normally it's 6:30 in the morning to 2:30, but that number is kind of unreliable. But try to call the Norwood numbers first for non-emergency lines. If you don't get anybody there, then call the 258 or 825-2280. That's the county non-emergency, and that is manned 24/7, and they will pick up for any non-emergency calls. And then, if you need something that is not that you just want to make a note of or let us know of, you can always go to our website. And there's 2 ways to do this. If you hit the Contact Us tab, it's going to take you to, you can flip it, I think. So, yeah, next. Yep, that right there. Nope, up.
Oh.
Yep. It's going to take you to this. You can pretty much request anything on this form. You can submit things anonymously if you want to. That's going to come to me and 4 other command staff officers, so that will be taken care of. And then if you have specific tips, then you can go to the next slide. You can go to the same place on the form or on the website, pick tips, forms, drop it down, and then you have those 5 type of tips that you can also do anonymously. There is another abandoned vehicle tab there. There's a vacation form. If you're going on vacation and you want the police to check while you're gone, click on that form. There's crime tips, there's drug tips. So these are more specific, but the regular Contact Us will do the same thing. And I think that is it for that. So I just wanted to bring you guys that attention. There's some other stats here from my year-end report isn't done yet, but just to kind of give you guys an overview of what we're doing. Our drug unit last year, they seized over 12 firearms on search warrants. They seized $162,000 in drug currency. They seized 1,723 grams of marijuana, 147 grams of heroin, over 1,000 grams of meth, over 200 grams of crack, over 300 grams of cocaine, about 50 grams of fentanyl, plus, So, and then the patrol stats we already touched on. Again, the top 5 crash locations were 71 Montgomery Road, 562 Madison Road, Edmondson Road. Our criminal investigation section, they investigated a total of 409 runs or incidents. The 1 homicide that we had, they investigated 11 robberies, 10 missing persons, several auto thefts, 45 burglaries, and over 200 something thefts. Normally, when they end up investigating a retail theft, it's part of a retail theft ring that's traveling around the tri-state or the country. And they'll have some type of leads for that. They ended up, our detectives ended up with assigning, 409 cases. They closed, 379 of those cases. They've had over 96 felony charges, 52 arrests. So they've been busy. So it's, we've been busy going into 2024. We're going to focus on a lot of decreasing the auto accidents. We have some campaigns coming up. So March 17th, there's going to be an OVI saturation patrols. We're going to partner with Hamilton County from Norwood. It's kind of a St. Patty's Day high visibility enforcement. Over the summer, we're going to partner with State Patrol. We'll have a OVI checkpoint. And then April is National Distracted Driving Awareness Month, high visibility enforcement. There'll be a campaign, if you text, you drive, you pay. In May, it's Motorcycle Awareness Month. They'll be doing another traffic campaigns. Speed campaign to be in July. August, September, and December will be other more high enforcement, drive sober, OVI, child passenger, drunk driving impairment. And then when our budget is finalized, the plan is to get some more speed trailers and speed signs to put up, preferably the speed trailers. They're more mobile. But that's kind of our biggest issues in citywide is quality of life issues, traffic crashes. You guys, you have anything to say?
Yeah. Hello again. I'm Sergeant Brian Hoffman. I'm the one of the night supervisors here at the City of Norwood. I'm also the head DT instructor, defensive tactics instructor, OC instructor, which is pepper spray, and I also teach the mechanical extendable baton. And I've been recently appointed as the community liaison officer. And one of the first things I did was I was introduced to Susan Hoover, and we've been sort of pals ever since. We've had several meetings. We email each other a lot. But the whole community liaison idea, the whole brainchild behind it was Chief Sumner. He wants us help in engaging in our community and finding out the problems and creating solutions and building partnerships. And one of the things that I'm really excited to talk about today, I'm really proud of, is our partnership with Adopt a Class. Has anyone ever heard of Adopt a Class before? Okay, it's essentially Adopt a Class. They go into communities where a lot of kids are on voucher systems to get free meals. They identify those schools, and what they try to do is they try to get different companies and different sort of community involvement in those classes. And we've been lucky enough to be assigned to this school right here in a 3rd grade class, and we've had 3 meetings, 3 sessions with these kids. And essentially the way these meetings go is we first go into the room. There's only about six officers or so. We're all pretty much in uniform. And we start out with an icebreaker. And I always tell my officers, just go up there and just be yourself. Go up there and talk about who you are. They see the Helios effect, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we wear our uniform, we wear it proudly. But, show them that humanity. So I always talk about my 2 kids. So I'm going to talk about my 2 kids real quick, just to give you an example of how I do this. I got a daughter, she's 12 years old. Her name is Isabel, and she plays the saxophone. She's been playing the saxophone now for, I think, going on about 4 years. Now, when she first started playing, it was during the pandemic, so all the kids were at home. and all they had was the reeds. So she's doing this online course, just screaming into this reed. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be absolutely terrible. So recently she brought her saxophone home, and it was music coming from her room. It was amazing. It was one of the most amazing things I'd ever heard. I was like, this is great. And I've got a 6-year-old boy. His name is Hunter, and he just completed his first year of wrestling. And my son is an intellectual. He's probably going to be one of the smartest kids in my family. So I wanted him to see this side of things and understand that. Be multifaceted. You know, I think wrestling is a really good thing for young boys to be involved in. As a matter of fact, right now wrestling is at an all-time high participation nationwide. So if you have young kids, young kids, get them involved in that, especially here in the city of Norwood, we need it. So that's kind of how I do my icebreaker. And the first day, a lot of the pressure was on me, so I wanted to do a literacy. So one of my favorite authors is Patricia Polacco. She's a child's author. If you ever heard of Patricia Polacco, these books will make you cry, literally. So I picked a really good book. She was there. I read the book to the kids. I made it through without crying, miraculously. And then after that, they want us to deliver a healthy snack to the kids, kind of introduce them to new foods. So, me being me, I took it to the extreme, and I got dates for the kids. And I had just recently been turned on to dates. I don't know if anybody ever had a date before. I like dates. So, the kids, they all took one bite, and it was like, a bunch of lions just, and little did I know, one of our young officers, I'll leave the name out of it. he takes a bite of this date, and it pulls his crown out, and his tooth falls onto the floor. Yes, so I had these souffle cups. He has his tooth in the souffle cup, and he's shaking it around the classroom, and it was just an absolute it was hilarity just ensued. So that was our first adopt-a-class meeting. It was a huge success. It was a huge success. Our second one, we had our canine come out. The kids just obviously fell in love with our dog. And our last one, a very young officer, Bailey Sloan, she approached me before the meeting. She said, "Sir, what I think we should do, we should go in there and make the kids know that they know their address, they know how to get a hold of somebody if they need help, and maybe they can draw a picture of their house." I was like, I love this. Because what she brought to the table was that when she started her career, it was in communication. So she was a 911 operator for the airport, and then for a brief time for the city of Norwood. And she built this little program, and we handed it out to the kids. And a lot of it was sort of boring. But at the end of the day, I was like, this is great. This is what we need. I want my young officers to come up to me like, "Hey, Sarge, I've got this idea. Let's go do this. This is good for the community." So we've got another one coming up, and we'll have a final one, I believe, in May. We'll have a field trip. We're still kind of putting that back together. But this whole beautiful thing that we've been creating is because of Chief Sumner. So if I could just get a brief little round of applause. Yeah. Thank you, sir. And I just want to take the time real quick. If Robert Town, you can stand up. This is our school resource officer. And big part of work.
It's been a good year. This is our first year back in the school since 2013. Yeah, my senior year was our first year without a Norwood officer. Wow. So it's been great to get that partnership going again, and we're doing a lot of partnership type things and trying to get the school and the police department together in a lot. Lately, we've been having some of our day shift guys will come over during the day and use the weight room, so there's some extra presence, and they're getting to know some of the kids. Sometimes they come in when there's a class in there, and they get to show off to the kids a little bit, so they can lift some weights, and it's been fun. Their kids are seeing us around, and they're talking to us a lot more than they ever have. So that's been our big goal from day one, to kind of treat this as like a public relations position and really build those bridges. I had a safety meeting last night at the Montessori school up at the middle school, and they're going to pilot a safety committee program where they'll have parents from the school that are in a safety committee, and they'll come up with ideas specific to the building or specific to that school, and then bring them to me and that sort of thing. And we're hoping that if that takes off, we can do that at all the buildings, have a district-wide, just more safety minded thing. So a lot of good stuff going on. I think it's been a really good kind of pilot year for our program here.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely a new era that people feel and that they want to come out and they want to work. Part of my vision was, you know, we hired a lot of new people, and it's critical that they show up to meetings, that they're out in the community and going to these adopted classes. But from a crime standpoint, you know, I think it's very important because people, I've been hearing gun violence a lot lately, and, you know, not saying that there's not, and there's always going to be an outlier somewhere where something happens that you just can't control. But for the most part, and for the record, you guys live in a very safe neighborhood. The only thing that we are constantly dealing with is quality of life issues. And when I read you the part 1 and part 2 crimes, we're not trying to dismiss quality of life issues because it's where you live, it's your property, you know, those are big deals. Just kind of give you an overview of, you know, the courts, you know, they don't necessarily, they don't look at it like you look at it because it's just what they deal with all the time and how it's categorized. But it's something that, you know, we're always in our cruisers, we're always visible, we're always in front of the schools, and I can't give you data to say why we don't have that. You know, you can look on the news every morning and see homicides and shootings within 2 miles of our city, but you never see it in Norwood. And I can't tell you why, other than the fact that I think because 1, we're landlocked, 2, we have a big police force, and there's not too many times you can come into Norwood and not see a Norwood police car. Either have on a traffic stop, sitting somewhere, and I think that presence alone is what's helping the criminals, people with nefarious objectives, stay out. You're not going to come into Norwood past a cruiser and go 4 houses down and commit some type of robbery. For the most part, you're not. But yeah, that's why we stay active. That's why we stay engaged. Yeah, obviously, if we see something kick off in any type of area, we're going to allocate our resources there. But as you see, our biggest problems we deal with is auto accidents, thefts, and minor quality of life issues. You know, we're going to have a shooting here. We're going to have a homicide there. We can't stop that. We can just do what we can to provide people resources, be out in the community talking to them. One of the biggest, I think, bridges that we are starting to build on is, you know, Roberttown and the schools, because that's where, you know, that's kind of the make it or break it point. You know, when you're in that age of middle school and high school, and then you either drop out and you're hanging out on the street. So, you know, he's doing phenomenal work over there. The school can't be, you know, any more happier. But going into 2024, is there any issues that you guys see up here where you live that you want us to focus on? Anything that we can do?
What about the homework? They sit outside and they sit outside and leaves and sit that are on rocks. I mean,
I have a great suggestion
you
for
can't
that.
go in. There's one building that sits there.
So the first thing I would suggest doing is, stand up. I have a relationship with, he actually lives in Norwood, I'm going to forget his name, Kevin Finn. He's the Executive Director of Strategies to End Homelessness, which is a big organization in Hamilton County. And there's actually an app called Street Reach. I'm happy to show it to you if you need it on your phone. I have it on my phone. What Street Reach is, it's sort of like a see-click fix for people experiencing homelessness. So if there's a gentleman who you always see at the UDF, if you have information about him, you can put it in, or you can just say there's someone who's always sitting at the UDF. The reason why, and what happens once you put that information in, is it gets filtered down. There's 4 different homeless groups. One is veterans, we have mental health and youth, and then everybody else. That's 4 different piles, right? So they'll figure out which pile does that person go into, because that would route them to the right place. Because maybe his case manager, maybe he's a vet, and his case manager's been looking for him, and oh, there he is, he's at the UDF on Dale, right? So that's why it's really important for us to try to keep that information in the system. What we don't, what's a challenge is if we simply ask the police to have them move, they're just going to go a few doors down, right? That doesn't fix the problem, it just moves the problem and sometimes can make them more difficult to reach.
So this app,
Yeah,
these people that know, I assume this gets help to them, and perhaps they can get a case manager then and get hooked up.
Yeah, yeah.
I met one of these guys, I think I know the one you're talking about. And a very nice gentleman, but so he has like need for benefits, he need help, and he has family that is disconnected from them. So, you know, is that what this?
yes, so
that
what,
system
yes.
plugs
The
in
Street
with?
Reach, that is, it connects with all of Hamilton County's homeless resources. So that's all of the, all of them are in that umbrella, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if he doesn't have a case manager, he can get hooked up with a case manager, or if he does, then that case manager can find him. Because that happens a lot when they used to go and break up homeless encampments, and then the case manager would come back and say, "We got your apartment. Where are you?" So that's why we really want to try to keep track of folks as best we can. The other challenge is some people do not want help, and that's a very real challenge. And that's happening nationwide. I can tell you it's not nearly as bad as in Norwood as it is in other parts of Cincinnati. That doesn't mean it's not happening. It doesn't mean it's not a problem. And we're going to see more and more of it as the economy continues. I'm concerned. But I'll be sure I get you that app and anyone else. I can actually put it on. Where did I put
Is
it?
that exclusive to Norwood, or is that?
No. That is Hamilton County. If you Google strategies to prevent homelessness, that'll show you everything about it. And I can add it. I worked on this little. This is not exhaustive. This is just what Susan Hoover does at 11 o'clock at night. So if you find typos or it'd be really great if you added on, let me know. I'm happy to add it, edit it, increase it, because I think a lot of folks just don't know where are the resources. So I'll add that to this puppy as well. Did that answer your question enough, ma'am? Or
No.
okay.
I'm just being honest.
No.
A lot of times
It's
too.
nice to know that there's, I mean, this is wonderful. I didn't realize there was this resource out there. But it's just, I don't go to the daily, media. I'm talking about the one I did on like. And often, there's been times I've been into a store, even down a Kroger, and I'll ask somebody to walk me out sometimes. Because it's like, they get you at your car, and they follow you, and like you said, there's a couple that, you get to know. And there's been a couple that I buy them lunch or dinner or something. But, yeah.
So they approach you?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one right there at the UPS on by the White Castle. He's there, and I mean, he's talking to everybody. Come up to my car. Yeah, I believe I did it.
As far as approaching, do you guys ever offer a community self-defense source at all? Or is that something that's ever been talked about?
It has been spoken of. We're actually in the middle of trying to get a grant to fix our training academy. We've done some remodeling over the last 2 years, and it's looking really good. And we're doing a lot of training there as a police department. But one of the goals that I have is to expand that out and have that like a regional training center for not only the community, but to do types of programs like that where people can come in and get trained, whether it's on self-defense or whatever. School shootings, active shooting, that kind of stuff. So that should be, that is in the works. So I would hopefully say we would be putting something out on that at the end of this year.
If weather permitting, I'll generally go over to the stadium and I'll walk around outside it because I know there are cameras over there. I was kind of getting bored with it, so I started going like up Forest Hill as a
Right.
challenge.
Yeah.
Last week when I was coming down the Forest and crossing the bridge to go back to my van at the stadium, I actually had a guy come up to me and like he's walking with me putting his hand here, and then eventually, I'm trying to get away from him. He ended up sliding it down to my butt. I stopped. I said, "You need to go."
Right.
About 80% of the time, I'll see one of you guys drive by while I'm walking.
Right.
Not that way.
If I can interject, I'm so glad that I was able to make it tonight for different reasons. And I'm glad that I'm hearing this. First and foremost, I just want to say our police department, the energy that's been brought to our community, it's been phenomenal. And years ago, what I've learned when I've worked with different municipalities, it really comes down to relationships. A lot of times, I remember once the police called me and said, "Bishop James, there's a man here, and it may be some mental health or whatever, but we're going to try out what you've been yelling at us about. Would you come talk to him?" I came to the police department and I picked the gentleman up. And he and I went back and forth. And by the time I got him where he needed to go, he was in tears. And everybody had been complaining about him because, he's just very flat out rude and disrespectful. But when you form relationships, and that's why it's so important that all of our municipalities, they embrace the relationships that people in their community can bring. Because a lot of times the things that they deal with, they're so busy, the stats are stats, right? And they get paid to handle that stuff. That's good. But there's a lot of things that get caught up in the cracks of things that they don't see and they're not aware of, but they're very stressful and could be life-altering to somebody. And so I just want to encourage our police department, which I just want to say, I haven't always had a good reputation in terms of, well, maybe I still don't, right? But folks, for some reason, always thought I was anti-police. Well, my youngest son now is a police officer. How could I be anti-police? I was just always anti-status quo. But our police department, I got to say it, and this young man here, we recently together worked with this issue in the school. I still hear about that almost every day, excluding Sunday. I don't let them bother me. Because of the whole approach and being open and how you communicate. And some of those people, I'm going to help for a minute. I've got some real issues. But years ago, it'd be 2 a.m. I'd be out on the street. And some of these individuals, some of them have a time to know with pain. They're hours. They've just gotten on a beaten path that's dangerous and whatever, but they're still hours. But we don't want them hurt. We don't want, we just want them to find their place. Ms. Hoover said something that's so important. Some of these individuals, for a lot of different reasons, and I'll sit out with them, and I'll sit with them. One time somebody came up and said, "Bishop, are you peddling?" I said, "No, but should I?" But it really takes more people that can work with the community, that can build these relationships, because that must have been terrifying for you to have a man take his hand that wasn't attached to your body and begin to proceed where it shouldn't go. And my heart breaks to hear if it happened to one.
I've been walking over there for a year, throughout the year, and this is the first time I've ever had anybody actually touch me. I've had people touch me, but they stay a couple feet away. "Hi, how you doing? Have a good day." Brief conversation, they go on their way. There's guys over there that sit and have their lunch regular, watching the trains. My husband works for the railroad, so a lot of times the guys that are on the trains there, they're our good friends. So that kind of, I got somebody watching over me. But I branched away from it, and that's the first time I had somebody actually approach and touch me. And he came up on me quick.
Well, if he does it again, or if any of them do it again, just say, hey, I'm going to call Bishop. Want to talk to him? And they'll say, oh, hey, I was just going to buy you a burrito. I wasn't going to mess with you.
I'd say call 911.
Well,
Then you can call. Then you can call.
But what I'm saying is because there are relationships from the time that we used to have the gun threat at the store there on Sherman and Carter. It was me that you saw up there. And when they said, hey, aren't you that one preacher dude? And I said, yeah. Now it's time to stand down, Clinton. We have real people that live here. Put those guns away and scatter them. And eventually, the police ended up working in collaboration with things, and it stopped. But it really takes community connection. And that's why I want to encourage our chief. He's just doing a phenomenal job. So when I make challenges, Chief, I'm telling you, you're one of my biggest heroes. And the officers that are doing the work, you guys are putting stuff in place. I don't want to be too long, but I have to give credit where credit is due, because they're doing a great job.
Absolutely. I had another question for you, ma'am. Have you ever spoken with the manager of the UDF? And I'm not saying you should have, I'm just asking if you have.
No, but I was, as you're all talking, about a year, within the last year and a half. Actually, I lived over here on Hunter. I actually had someone come up and try to come in my home.
Oh, my goodness.
And when I opened the door, I was like, excuse me? And he said, oh, I was just coming in and take a shower. Not here, sir. Not here. And I mean,
Could
he
you
was
ask
really,
me first?
he was really nice. I mean, he was very disheveled and stuff.
Right.
And he went on his way. But, no, but I have asked people to watch me go out to my car.
If you'd like, I'm happy to talk to the manager and,
But sometimes they'll come out. I've seen people come out and tell them that they have to move on, and they will. But then,
they come,
as I'm driving off, you see them
come back.
Coming back.
come back.
UDS near White Castle, they used to play symphony music outside the hall.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they must have a different manager now.
It would drive me crazy pulling up.
Yeah, people have other questions or concerns that they would like to share?
Speeders.
Speeding.
Oh, well, but
It's on our list.
What's the model of the gray car up on the corner?
Oh,
You know what I'm
the
talking
thing,
about.
what's this, Camaro with the V28 or?
Every single day,
Oh.
right before
Or
the kids get out of school.
Fires that thing up. I'd love to know what he does.
He floors it every time he comes through there.
Where are you having problems with speeders, man?
He's written it
Just a
down.
little.
Where at?
Globe.
Okay.
On Globe.
Are you guys
Oh,
ever
yeah.
gonna walk the beat again?
Yeah.
A few years ago, you guys were doing that, and it was so nice to actually see the officers. The first block of Hunter got really quiet for a while, and
You'll see a lot of bike officers this year up in
Okay.
that area.
Oh, really?
Hunter, Ross, and Silver, Warren, that first,
the first
First
the first
one.
block
yeah,
of each month.
yeah. First or second one.
Well, they come up with the second.
Yeah.
I live on Madison, and I was surprised. I recently, well, the next couple of years, I started walking my grandson down the street to school. I live up closer to the family. We know there's no school meeting or zone sign on Hanover. None, either way. There's an old, almost gone painted, in the middle of the street, kind of halfway down, but there's nothing. And we get speeders up and down every day. We sit on the porch a lot, and sometimes it's kind of like among the neighbors going, I think that one was going to.
How many people have seen Quick Fix on their phone? Okay, I'm sorry, you all fail. You all fail. Everyone here, right now, open up your phone. Okay, one, we got one.
Is this the pothole?
This is the pothole, and yes, we know, oh my goodness.
Can you touch it here?
See Click Fix is an app that,
We bring this up all the
I
time.
don't know what it is. I'm so
I'm
embarrassed.
pulling it up. So this is my favorite thing. It's called See Click Fix. You can also go to the city website, and this is where you can report so much stuff. Potholes, for sure, we all know. And I'm not saying, and please do continue to report potholes because Cliff is on it, like super fast. And it benefits us to know when there are potholes, and we do know that there are potholes. But you load it up, and then you press View Request. This is an upholstered sofa on someone's porch. This is beer cans, litter. This is a downspout hanging off of a roof. These are things that you would want your city to know. This is a missing stop sign. Oh, no, missing stop sign called after. But like a missing slow sign or that kind of thing, missing street sign.
I did a fallen stop sign on Secret Fix last week, and they had it fixed by the end.
Yeah. Did you hear that?
Does that include rumpy issues?
It can, depending on what the rupture issue is. I'm also happy to advocate on your behalf for that. But you can take a picture of it, of whatever the thing is, the pothole, the wire down, and then it gets routed. We're still working, sometimes it's getting routed to the wrong place. 90% of the time it's routed correctly. To the building department, to the Board of Health, to the police. Usually there's not police stuff on Sequit.
Traffic complaints and abandoned vehicles.
Yes. Yes. So all of it is on there, and then you can follow your complaint. It'll say referred to Jim Shelby, Board of Health. So I know now it's on Jim Shelby's desk. And so then if it's been a few days, then I'll help you.
So, I'm putting you on the spot. Do you really know what the ordinance is where it relates to the distance of no parking to an intersection or stop sign?
Kind of stop sign is 35.
30 feet, 35?
It's 35 feet, which I don't think we actually abide by on the street.
Could we, I'll tell you,
The one thing that's weird is
you're missing out on some revenue.
It's 30 or 35 to a stop sign, but it's only 20 to an intersection, which is weird.
Well,
Kind of,
what, use some double yellows,
Yeah.
some places to avoid.
Did you find it?
Actually, one bad spot, this light out here, it's a trigger light. If you're coming up the hill to the light, it's a trigger light. If you're not in the right lane, sitting behind the white line, that light is not going to change. I actually had to tell a woman a couple weeks ago, and she's not the only one who's done it, but she came up literally in the middle of the road. You had room to go around her to turn right. She was in the middle of the road. Finally gave up. She wanted to turn left. Finally gave up. Went around the block and pulled up right in the middle of the road again. So where the light is never going to change.
Which intersection is that?
Yeah. This one right here.
Across the street?
Yeah.
Facing the school this way?
And the one,
It's kind of you can turn this way.
oh, is it the one?
I'm on the same.
Yeah.
A lot of problems with trigger lights is people don't understand them because Norwood is littered with them.
Oh, yeah, the one at White House, when you're on a motorcycle, you're not getting a turn right.
Correct.
Stop.
But they don't have enough weight
Yeah.
for it to register, but they're all over the city. I tell people, look at the little squares on the ground.
White line's
But-
there for a reason.
Right. But then some is 2 cars back from that white line. Like if you want to set
Yeah.
off the turn light at Montgomery Road, you got to be 2 cars back.
Yep.
So, yeah, but people don't understand that.
Just with these meetings in general, like information is power, right? And with your question about can we get street signs, as you were telling that story, I'm texting Clint, and he just texted me back. So he's gonna look into it tomorrow, he may have to order some. So, you know.
So this is what people need to understand. This is, being a community, it's full contact. We need you to tell us. We don't always know where there's a pothole. We don't always know where the street sign is out. So we need our residents to help us. Like, what's that? Help us, help you.
Are these stats online anywhere?
No, not yet. Hopefully they will be on our website once the annual report is done. But our website's a hot mess right now, and we're trying to get that up to date and fixed where it's more community advantageous, where if people need to see something, they can get in there and look, whether it's policy, stats, you know, what's going on in the community, that kind of stuff.
Thank you for that transparency. That's incredible. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am. So in Quick Fix, the way I would say is, I drive by Factory 52, and like that beach, like the intersection that's like beach, where Doral Park is.
Yeah.
That's just a mess.
They don't know how to
Mess
work
out.
that intersection.
It's a mess because if you're coming from North Oakley,
So I can tell you that
like, people are always trying to.
they did a traffic study of that prior to Factory 52 being built. That was prior to our time on council, so you can't blame us. And there's going to be a new traffic study because of their purchase of multicolor. Does everyone know that?
Yeah.
Okay, so they bought multicolor, and it's going to be more apartments is my assumption. So we're doing another traffic, they're going to be doing another traffic study. So they're kind of waiting until everything is more done before they make real traffic decisions. Does that make sense?
That does.
Okay, are you feeling like we need a stop sign, or we need a?
It's a four-way stop. I
Okay.
mean, I know nobody believes that, but I swear to you, I've seen the stop. They're there. They're red. They say stop. It's very confusing.
So are you thinking like, this is a four-way stop would be helpful?
Council Works is one over, so
Yeah.
is it, it's Robinson?
Robertson, that's where Angela's is, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the Anglo's corner.
Four-way stop.
I mean, I almost got T-bone today because somebody
Yeah.
blasted right through that, like,
Oh,
on my
really?
way to this meeting.
I never have home then.
I go that way several times a week. It is, it's like, it's the
Yeah.
Factory 52 traffic, it's
Well,
people who
and
don't
then,
know.
yeah, so.
Can I just add one last thing? The rec center here in Norwood is amazing. There's a lot of great classes in there, and I know you mentioned self-defense. A good friend of mine, Dom Steele, does teach a boxing class there. Now, he does that on Tuesdays, and he does it on Thursdays, I think. So if you're interested in learning how to box, he's a great coach.
And the second club, my oldest son, Boom Boom, owns Boom Fitness Center on Montgomery Road next door to AutoZone. And if you go in and say, Boom, your dad said I can get some self-defense, tell him I sent you. I'll bust him up. And he's a world-class athlete and a former pro boxer and a world champion.
He's
So
been there 3 years.
Yeah, so he's very skilled and knowledgeable. Dom, I love Dom, he's like a son. But also Boom, if you're looking for fitness or self-defense classes, he actually teaches them. And so he's right next door to AutoZone. In fact, he has a huge boxing show that'll be televised from the Evanston Rec Center on this Sunday. So,
The big black and red building, there's no signage. He's real.
yeah. Real, all black, I think now. I don't know what the.
A little bit of red.
Little bit of red, okay, yeah. Those are its
People
colors.
have other questions or insights or suggestions? Has everyone downloaded Seek?
You
No
read my
one's
mind?
leaving. Mr.
I'll check your
I'm
phone
gonna
out.
leave until I have it down on
I'm
his
so
phone.
lost, I'm sorry. Like,
We're gonna have like 800 views.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of speed traffic campaigns here coming up in April. Summer's coming. If you have issues on your residential streets, let us know. You can email me, you can call. You'll always get a call back.
I watch, because we're kind of right across the Feldman. They come down the hill, it's like they just,
Right.
and I wanted to go out and put a sign, please stop.
Yeah.
Are we able to get the lights around the stop signs? Is that been considered,
Yeah,
you know,
have
the
things
flashing?
put on several intersections.
I just worry because there's a lot of kids and animals.
Yes,
and stuff.
yes.
And
Well, if anybody has any problems, questions, get a hold of me. We're probably going to do this once a quarter, so the next time won't be here. It'll probably be somewhere else in the city, maybe at our training center. But the goal is to move around the city once every 3-4 months, see what's going on in other areas of the city. But we're out there, we're working hard, so if you have any issues, call us, let us know.
If you would like emails on other Ward 4 things that we have going on, please we'd love to have your name and address on here. Just another quick plug for Ward 4 is Emily's Garden in Hunter Park. Does everyone know Emily's Garden in Hunter Park? There's a small community garden. It is absolutely beautiful. A Norwood resident has taken it under his wing, and it's really it's a really beautiful, magical space. They always have volunteer events, but at least go walk through it. It was named after a Norwood resident, Emily, who died a few years ago of brain cancer when she was in her 20s. And so it's about her attitude and resilience, which is very much sort of that Norwood spirit. I mean, there's something, don't talk crap about Norwood. We have that real intensity. So, but check out that in Ward 4. And again, if you want more information, and if you need to call me or text me, please do so. Everyone, everyone, awesome. All right. And one more thing before you leave, introduce yourself to one person you did not know before you got here. One of the best ways to build community is to know your neighbors.
Good job. That's what I like.
So thank you very, very, very much for coming. Thank you.
Were you going to do a tutoring?